Alrighty. As you guys can see, we got Pink Diamond Giannis in the squad. This was a quite the journey here to get this character in. I'm glad we got him in. And now the main goal for me is to build a team around Giannis. That's the first thing I want to do. I'm not so focused on God squads because we pretty much know what that is, and I think the God squad meta is going to be evolving over the course of the next month. So I'm more inclined to um, build interesting and fun teams and explore the cards that exist while maintaining the economy I'm going to have from selling these Kareem cards. And I would advise anybody who has those cards, I guess advise is a strong word. I would suggest considering holding on to some of those more expensive cards because right now they're in packs, so they're at their lowest value. A lot of them are on the auction market because people are trying to get these moments cards and Tracy McGrady, so their value is kind of low right now. But what is it, 3, 4, 5 days when these Kareem packs are gone, and a lot of people are realizing, oh no, I don't have Pink Diamond Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he can do this. They're gonna say, I need to get that card, and they will pay anything to get that card because this is probably still the best card in the game. Um, Almost no matter what they come out with. There are a couple of cards that could dislodge Giannis from being the best card. I would say if they come out with a point guard LeBron James, that could do it. If they come out with a moments Kristaps Porzingis, that could be like Super Cheese Ball. But outside of that, this could be Mr. Number One right here. There's a couple of other really great cards you could talk about. I don't think Tracy McGrady is one of those cards because I think Tracy, his skills are replaceable with Kobe and Zach and Jimmy Butler and Paul George and Opal Ray Allen. That's a pick 'em. That's a preference thing. He's not an advantage. Whereas Giannis is the only card that's 6'11", max wingspan, which is a factor. Just because they don't list wingspan in the game doesn't mean, in the cards anywhere, doesn't mean it's not a factor. That's why I always say to make sure you actually look at the cards. Try to get your eyes on some real gameplay of the cards so you can see those animations because it's super important. It's super important to have an awareness of stuff like their player dimensions, how big the card actually is. Just because a card says he's 6'4" doesn't mean he is 6'4". He might actually be 6'5" or 6'3". He might have narrow shoulders and a wiry frame. Like the best example is Kevin Durant, who's listed at one thing, but really he looks a lot smaller than he's supposed to be. If you look at Kevin Durant in real life, you look at him stand next to Giannis, and it's like, oh, those are two really tall NBA players. You look at him in 2K, he's like half Giannis' size. So, people who are amped up about a Kevin Durant card, go ahead and look at that Lamar Odom card because that's your Kevin Durant card because he's the size that Kevin Durant's supposed to be with the shooting that Kevin Durant's supposed to have. So right there you see hitting a leaning jumper with Giannis. That is ugly. Why does he have so much power? So the other thing about me with Giannis is I really want to explore the character. Like obviously the character is so good that you can just hold turbo and hop step your way to success, of course. But I want to look at all of his animations. I want to see how the card really plays. Look at that snatchback. That is vicious. Look at that switch, the left to right. Yeah, this card is silly. Like, look how he's moved. Look how he's just switching animations. There's so many animations in this game that you have to be aware of. That if you don't actually explore the card, you're not going to get the value out of the card. So a lot of people change cards up because they never really learn how to use the card all the way. And with the card this good, since I'm on the AtMeBro account as opposed to my personal account, I'm really looking forward to exploring this card. I don't want to have games where Giannis is scoring 3 points and 7 rebounds and my offense is running through someone else. I want to use a card this strong in the way that he's designed to be used, which is to have a high usage rating. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And to get my economy up, because I only have 25k MT now, I'm going to be selling most of these Kareem cards. And that's really the subject, one of two subjects for this broadcast right here. The first one is, yay, we got Pink Diamond Giannis. Now I feel like we're really on the journey to building this team up. And the next step is to fill out the roster with first a budget team of shooters and defenders around Giannis, with a few playmakers, to have a Giannis team that is like 90 overall or less, right? Like, so 86 to 90 overall is what I'm looking for with that goal. And I would say I want to fill up the roster with maybe 35k MT for that goal. And then everything else will be building towards filling out the best team possible in the style that I prefer to play in. Not just a god card in every slot, but like, keeping in mind how much you're going to use a card and stuff like that. I see people have like Baron Davis on the bench and they play him and he scores 2 points. That card's too good to be scoring 2 points, man. Like, if you have Derrick Rose, Baron Davis, Tracy McGrady, you got to run your offense through those cards. Otherwise, I just think you're doing it wrong if those cards are just defending and spot up shooting. You might as well have Stockton or Kyle Lowry in that role. So moving on. Who should I sell from the Kareem deck? Is there anybody worth keeping? So let's first look at James Worthy. So the number one thing James Worthy doesn't have going for him is he is not Pascal Siakam. And if you're going to be playing the power forward role or the small forward role, there's a few names that I'm looking at, and James Worthy doesn't meet up to any of those names. He's not a bad card by any stretch. He's a great defender. He's got great post-up play, like outstanding post-up play, just like he did in real life. He is one of the quickest first steps in the history of basketball out of the post-up. And that's all in the game. He has a great shot release when you get used to it. He's generally a quick character, but he's basically Xavier McDaniel, who's much cheaper on the market. And I mean, I'm inclined to believe Xavier McDaniel is every bit as good as this card. He has a slightly worse ball handle, Xavier McDaniel. That's a nice step back from James. But James cannot do the behind-the-back dribble. And if you can't do the behind-the-back dribble, essentially you don't have the full... what up, Cam? Oh yeah, that Pink Diamond Giannis is the purest of cheddar. He is brie. He's fancy French cheese. So this James Worthy is a good card, but he is not as good as his market value. So James Worthy, even though I sniped this James Worthy, I didn't snipe him. I got him off a buyout, so I paid 100k flat for him. I believe his market value will go up to at least 150k when he's in packs. So while I am going to sell the James Worthy, I'm going to wait to sell this James Worthy. I'm not going to sell him right away because I don't think his value is going to go down. And if his value does go down, I'm willing to lose that gamble. What a nice jumper James Worthy has. Good lord. That is... woof. Y'all see that? Woof. That's a nice jumper. I'll give him that. His jumper is definitely cleaner and smoother than Xavier McDaniel's. So yeah, he's a good character, but I think the cards that he would be possibly replacing, again, if you're looking for a defensive role player, you've got the cream of the crop is Pascal Siakam. Draymond is an excellent defender. And then offensive cards, you've got Lamar Odom, who is the absolute top of the meta right now. And if you're looking for the more slightly smaller, rangier guys, Paul George and Jimmy Butler, I think, do his job without, bumping your rating so much. So yeah, he's a good card, but he's a sell. Let's go back to Gary Payton. I'm going to work through the whole deck real quick. So what I like about Gary Payton is Gary Payton has some nice, cheesy dribbles. You just got to find them. So this double crossover right here is actually pretty good because you can stop, spam it, and then burst out of it. And that gives you options. And Gary Payton, for some reason, has a 75 dunk. I don't know what Gary Payton they were looking at, but I don't see that when I look at the old Sonics highlights. So I don't know about that, but Like, literally, I cannot in my memory remember seeing Gary Payton dunk more than once. And I can't remember the specific dunk. And so the other thing about Gary Payton that I didn't discover until after my last stream, so he has this really cheesy hezzy around a three-point line, which park players use. But he can't change directions with the behind the back out of that. He has to go with the front crossover, and it has like this automatic hesitation into it. But if instead of doing the right stick hezzy, you go to the left trigger, he can change directions with the left trigger hezzy. And so you can fake like you're going to go the one way and then go back the other way. So you can turbo, hezzy, and then come back the other way. That's really good. And with a character that's going to dunk and play the best defense you can possibly play for a card of this size, that's pretty strong. People complain a lot about Gary's jumper. It is pretty slow. So that's what really breaks him from not being a meta card, possibly at the top of the meta. If someone's really comfortable with his jumper, you can definitely, like, he has a high enough rating that you can make the jumper all the time. And I do think that he has, I haven't played much with this card on offense, but I do think he has a readable release. I don't see the release point as being too small of a window, even though I don't know the release point like by heart, but I can see the release point. Like when it's green, I can tell why it's green. So I don't know. I think this is up to you, but for me, he's definitely 100% a sell because there's no way that I don't think he's better than Pink Diamond Drew Holiday. I don't think he's better than Stockton. There we go. See, found the green release window. And I have to get my hands on Kyle Lowry, but I'm not sure if he's better than Kyle Lowry either. So while he does have some nice dribbles there, you can actually see there his quick first step is really nice. He launches pretty fast out of his standstill. He dunks, he launches fast, he's got excellent defense and a makeable shot, but he doesn't have limitless range. He's not a dunker. He just dunks more than Gary Payton should dunk. Speed is good, but he's worth too much. You can get Jimmy Butler or possibly Paul George or Yao Ming for Gary Payton, and he's not as good as those cards. Or even Chris Bosh. He's not as good as Chris Bosh. So Gary's got to go. Gary's value is roughly 140 right now. So I'm not sure if I'm going to sell him right away. Not sure. Might wait, especially since there's nothing I want to buy at this very second. So Gary's gone. Wilkes. He's a good card. Let's just get that out the way. He's super fast, excellent defense, decent shooting, great dunker. He's got like a 90-something dunk, although his dunk packages are a little underwhelming. Sometimes that's not the worst thing in the world because that means a lot less missed dunks when you do the really simple stuff. But he doesn't have a handle to speak of. And the problem with that is that Jamal Wilkes is only 6'6". So if I'm going to go for a 6'6 guard / small forward, a 6'6 wing that has, clamps and all of that stuff, I'm looking at Kobe Bryant and Eddie Johnson. That's where you want to go with that. No way he's as good as those cards, and there are a whole bunch of other cards he's also not as good as that are taller than him. So while he's a solid card, not the greatest dribbler in the world, excellent defender, he's low value, so I could see keeping him in the squad until his value ticks up because he's roughly 15K right now, and I don't know anybody I'd rather have at 15K. That's actually, he has a nice momentum dribble. Is that because of my coach? Because he's not supposed to be able to do that. That's nice. Hey, I sleep on your dribbles a little bit. I apologize. So he can't do the behind the back, but his momentum is pretty nice. Oh no, he can. Is he warmed up? Why is he dribbling so well? Because his ball handle's not supposed to be that high. I don't have a shoe on him. What's going on here? What's going on, Wilkes? Why are you wildin'? Yeah, 82 three-pointer. He's just a solid card. Yeah, 85. So I guess my coach must be. Does the coach work in freestyle? Do you guys know? I don't know. But yeah, if you have a coach, he can do the dribbles. So I mean, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Solid card. He's probably a little bit better than like Ruby Iguodala, but I wouldn't put him above that. Yeah, so Ruby Iguodala, maybe a little bit better of a defender at Iguodala at that level, and since you have to get 500 million rebounds to Evo Iguodala, you're probably not looking at anything better than Ruby Iguodala. I don't know who else I compare him to, because he's just kind of average offensively, like good dunker, not super great dribbles. I guess Michael Jordan would be the other one I would compare him to. That's the other comparison. So Michael's much more expensive than this card. I'd have to get my hands on that card to see how much better he plays. I haven't been impressed by what I've seen from Michael on stream. You can see he has a terrible hesitation. That is awful hesitation. Good lord, that's bad. That is really rough. Let's see the left trigger. That left trigger he's no good either. Yeah. So solid but not great dribbling. Very makeable shot. Very, very makeable shot. Very easy. Once you get used to where it is in the back of the head that the ball has to be before you let it go, you can definitely green with this guy all the time, and it's pretty quick too. So yeah, solid offense, excellent defense, but he's just a little short. If this character was 6'8", I would view him much higher, and I would definitely say keep him. But he's a temporary keep because he's only 15K. I don't think it's good to sell him at 15K because he's part of the Giannis pack. So I would say sell, but wait to sell him. But he's got to go as well. Jerry West is trash. We're just going to go ahead and say sell him. We're not even going to look at his stuff. Michael Cooper, who actually is a good comparison for the Jamal Wilkes. So Michael Cooper, worse handles. I just want to say this card feels a little better than Wilkes in some ways. Maybe it's because he has a better wingspan. You see his arms are really long. I think this is one of those cases where like that wingspan is kicking in as a passive and certain things just go his way better. And because he doesn't have that almost good ball handle, he does have that slow behind the back, which is actually pretty useful sometimes. And you can see just the launch in his dunks animation. I think he just has a better dunk animation package than Wilkes. Good shooter, excellent defender. If you're into that Evo grind, he's probably good to Evo. But again, just another solid card. I would say when his value goes up to sell him. He might be a good card to take into triple threat offline and put a contract on him and passively evo him if you have other triple threat goals to do, because he's going to be a good rim runner and a good defender. So it'll be easy to get through the triple threat grind. But again, not a super great card, not a keeper overall. Not going to be in your meta deck, and he could possibly make your budget squad though. He might be a good budget squad card, a good solid budget role player. Faster and shorter than Hunter, but that's up to you as a user. My guy Lucious Allen, I really like this card. He's so fast. He's got a bunch of good dribbles. I mean, his behind the back is awesome. And he gets even though he can't dunk, he gets all of the good layup badges gold. Like literally all of them. He gets them gold. So I would say if you have this card and you're like me and you like this card, I would say put a contract on him, evo him up, and then sell him at that price if you enjoy using the card. Excellent defense, really good shooter. Again, doesn't have range extender. I don't think anybody from this pack had a range extender. Yeah, just overall, just a super fun card. And I say he doesn't dunk. He dunks once in a while, but it's not his forte. But this is a great third string point guard. If you're running Oscar Robinson, who has low stamina, this is a nice little third string point guard to throw out there. But also, he might be really good for your budget squads. You can kind of compare him to Dennis Schroeder, who also has gold clamps and like a 92 or 94 speed. So this is up to you, but this card, he's just got great ball handles. He's a better finisher than you might think because of all those badges, but you have to be clever. You have to know when to Euro step. You can see how far the Euro step goes. He hesitates a little bit at the top. Don't love that. But he's got some faster layups too. He's got an okay cradle layup situation going down. If you can stomach a card that's not going to dunk and is a little on the short side, again, your Kyle Lowry, he's like a budget, probably a budgety version of Kyle Lowry. But he's just there's a snappiness to this card that definitely allows you to get some stuff off with the dribbles. So yeah, it's a very strong dribbling card, solid defensive card. He's a little on the small side. Again, he's got to go. I'm going to be sad to see him go because I enjoyed the card. If I have a budget squad set up, he could be in my second unit when Giannis isn't running. When Giannis is running, I want a better shooter than this. But once he's diamond, I'm definitely going to 100% sell him at his diamond value. But because I enjoy the card, I can invest in those resources for now. Norm Mixon. This is an interesting card. First, let's look at the card for a second. Let's look at his stats. So he's got an 80 dunk, which is really, keep in mind, this is a sapphire. So if you're running an 85 rated team, this is one of those characters you want to use. So he's 6'2", so he's a little on the short side. Although I would say his player model looks like a big 6'2". He got a 75-3 with a really makeable shot. So here's the thing. He has a 91 ball handle. So that means his dribble is going to all be a little bit faster. An 88 speed with ball, which is decent. Lateral quickness is an 80, which is not terrible, but again, he's a budget card, so you got to give up something. 88 speed, not horrible. So let's look at his badge situation. Decent hot spots, right? The entire right side of the court is a hot spot for him. But then you look at his badges. He's got gold contact finisher and giant slayer and relentless finisher. This is an excellent slasher for and he's got quick draw, the super necessary card, and hot zone hunter for a bunch of hot zones. Ankle breaker, bailout, break starter, diamond. Ankle breaker is not a super great badge, but bailout is a very good badge, especially for a slasher. Dimer is an excellent badge. So he has dimer and floor general on gold. Handles for days on gold, so you can be a dribbler who dribbles all the time. Lob City's on gold, so you can pair him up with a card that has only decent dunking and throw cheesy lobs. Like, this is a really good card. He's got stop and go. The only playmaking badge that he doesn't have that would make him really elite is tight handles, because tight handles is what causes you to stumble when you do the behind the back dribble. And he's got gold clamps. This card is a keeper. I'm saying it, Norm Mixon is a keeper card out of this Kareem package. He's so dirt cheap, I would 100% not sell him. He can definitely play for my budget teams 100%. Backup budget point guard for nothing. Lower my overall so you get better matchups. Look at the behind the back. Momentum. And he's got a nice boop bop. Look at this, man. Boop, boop. Going both ways. He's just a solid card. Look at that momentum run back. Behind the line, like, this guy is solid, man. This is super solid. And look at that dunk. Look at the height he gets on that dunk. Like, his dunk package is really strong. I noticed this when I forgot one game I had to play him, so I was like, I'll just play him a few minutes. I hadn't even inspected the card. This Norm Mixon card is super good. Look at that hop step dunk. Like, he reminds me of I'm gonna say he reminds me a little bit of the Ja Morant card, in the sense that when the Ja Morant card comes out and he's Ruby, you don't expect him to be that good. I don't know if this is the best sapphire point guard but that's the one. Lonnie Walker is who he reminds me of. Where you're just like, why is this card so good? And the fact that he has clamps and all these finishing badges. Let me look at his playmaking badges again. And Dimer, this card is super great. Like, I am shocked at how good this card is. Very exciting card. Just across the board. Yeah, so I would say he's a keeper. I think he's actually one of the absolute best cards in the deck when you combine value for what he is. Like, this card, last I checked, this card was discard value on on MT. So if you're starting a new team, definitely go grab Norm Mixon. He plays offense, he plays defense, he shoots well enough. Excellent slasher with every slashing badge, and he's one of those slashers that has better dunk packages than would be indicated. McLaughlin. I love the release on this card, although I haven't been playing with him for a while. But really easy release. This is one of those cards where the first 4 times you shoot with him, you green, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I felt like that about JJ Redick. This card would absolutely be a keeper if he had range extender, but he doesn't have range extender. Now he does have clamps, if I recall correctly, and he does evo up more. So I have to look at his full evo to really judge him. I might look at that before the video ends, but unfortunately, he doesn't have the range extender. Although you can see, I mean, what a beautiful shot this character has. He's just one of the nicest releases in the game. So I would say if range extender is not super important to you, this card's a keeper too, because he's not expensive on the market at all, and he's a shooter and a defender. He's a two-way player. You know, he's got good overall attributes. Let's look a little closer at the card. But I really like this card a lot too. So you can see he has some good slashing badges for contested layups. I mean, he's a fantastic shooter without range extender. Like, if you take range extender off the table, he's an excellent shooter. Like, excellent shooting rating, excellent shooting badges, excellent shooting release. Like, honestly, he's going to hit most of your threes, and he's going to defend better than most of the budget three-point shooters in the game because he has clamps and pick dodger and tireless defender. So this is a really good budget shooter. It's just a shame that he doesn't have range extender. Oh my god, if this card had a range extender, he would skyrocket to, he would be a meta card. He'd be a meta card if he had range extender. But he doesn't, and I don't want to say I'm a snob to this level, but if you don't have range extender as a shooter, I'm looking at you funny. I think it's more important for your shooters to have range extender than it is for them to be good defenders if they're shooters, if their role is shooting. If their role is not shooting and you're running a more well-rounded team, then no. But the problem is sometimes characters hang out too far from the basket, and in this game it's basically impossible to step in and shoot the way you do in real life. Like, the character doesn't move for several frames. So if you have a range extended character, you can just take that shot. You can pick and pop and take that shot from really far away. And it's just a shame that with this character, that's not an option. You can only use him in like set play-ish kind of situations where he's already standing where he's supposed to be, or coming off of a curl, you know, or a zipper cut that's like already in the playbook. But in those spontaneous situations when it gets kind of scrambly, him not having the range extender is going to hurt. And he's not going to extend the defense. So I love the card's release. I love him as a shooter, but it's just a crying shame he doesn't have that. All right, moving on. So we have another card I was a little surprised by, and that's the Spencer Haywood card. So let's go a little deep dive into him, because usually sapphires are not good in this game, right? Like, there's some that stand out, but for the most part, not. Your budget cards are more going to be in the amethyst and ruby range. But this card has surprisingly good statistics in a lot of areas. Now, he's only 6'8". He's a little bit bigger of a 6'8", which is good. But you see his shooting, a 72 three-point shot, that means you can make the shot consistently. And he has a pretty easy to read release. I didn't expect him to shoot that well. He's got an 80 driving dunk, not a great ball handle. Post moves that I wouldn't use at all because he's only 6'8", and that's a waste of your time. 81 shot contest, which is solid. 73 speed, which is a little slow. But the card shoots okay. And when you have a small forward, a power forward that shoots that well, and he's got good finishing badges and like a solid dunk package and quick draw. I didn't expect him to have quick draw and like downhill. So I was like, He's not the worst card in the world, but he's trash. Gotta sell him. Say all that to say, he's gotta go. But his little weird release, like when you get a sense of it, you can definitely hit it. You just have to. It's definitely unique. What does this remind me of? There it is. There it is. And so when a card has like a release you can always make, and you can stick him at the small forward, there's better cards to like do that with, but he has a good dunk package. He just kind of moves well. I was just a little surprised at how well the card moved. I thought the card was a completely trash card, and it's like, he's not good, but he's not bad. And I could see somebody, again, if you're running a low overall lineup and you just want somebody to spread the floor who moves a little faster than their ratings say they do, who has a good dunk package, who can, pump fake and come out of that corner. That's really what it is. It's like he can be in the corner, he can pump fake, come out of that corner, and get a really nice dunk. That's a skill in this game. That's a solid skill in this game. And I do not hate this card. I thought I would hate this card. It is a mediocre card. It's not a super great card, but I do not hate this card. Okay, so the card I don't have in here is Gail Goodrich because I had to put 2 centers on this team. And I also don't have Kurt Rambis on here. But I don't like either of those cards. Kurt Rambis is self-explanatory. He's an emerald. There's really no reason to use an emerald at all. And when it comes to Gail Goodrich, I just think he's too short. I just think the card is way too short. So that's my overall review. I think Oscar Robertson is the #1 keeper out of all of the cards. And I would say that the other one I really like is, for budget squads, this Norm Mixon card is a sleeper, sneaky, good card. Everybody else, I would say if you like Allen, play with that card, use him as your backup, evo him up, and then sell him to get a profit off the character. If he can fill your roster and do that for you. Especially if you wound up playing him a lot while you had the Kareem challenges like I did. And everybody else, they gotta go. Oh, I didn't look at Byron Scott. I'm so sorry. Let's look at Byron Scott real quick. Byron Scott is kind of like a better shooting Norm Mixon. Excellent dunk animations. He's got an 86 ball control. He shoots really well. I mean, look at that shot. First shot green right away. Just a really good offensive card. But as a person who plays point guard in rec center and pro-am and park, I don't like a point guard that doesn't have dimer. So, I mean, I would never use him as shooting guard because he's just so short. But that's the main thing with Scott. Is like he's a solid. Let me look at his badges real quick before we close the book on him. No defensive badges, no playmaking badges. He only has shooting badges. But he has a lot of good shooting badges. Again, if this card had range extender, it would be a different conversation. If this card had range extender, I would accept the sacrifice of him not having the playmaking badges, because then he's kind of like budget Derrick Rose at that point. It's like he can shoot, he can dribble, he can dunk, but he has no defensive badges and no playmaking badges, and he's too short to legitimately run at the shooting guard, especially not to have any badges to make up for his height. So I like the Byron Scott card. He's a fun card, but I just can't see you using him over the other better budget options like Devontae Graham and John Morant and Jamal Murray if you want a shooter. Even Lucious Allen if you want a defender, a shooting defender who can dribble and make plays. So this is another card that is not very good, but he's not worth anything right now. Maybe he'll be worth something later on. So there's no point in selling him right now because he doesn't go for anything because he's in packs and he's flying out of packs. But when he becomes more rare later on and people are looking for that Giannis, I'm hoping he'll go up a few MT. Even if he goes up to 4 to 5K MT, then I sell him at that price. But selling him for 1 or 2 KMT is just kind of like, I'd just rather let him sit there and keep my collector levels boosted. And why not talk about Cap, even though he's not a card you can sell, obviously, but just to close the book on the collection. This card is stupidly fast, even at the second Amethyst. So I'm going to just say 2 things about Cap real quick. Number 1, he's really, really, really fast. I mean, he just runs all over the place at 7.2. And being this fast at 7.2 is cheesy, cheesy, cheesy. And he has another 10 or 11 speed or whatever it is coming to him. He ends off at like between 85 and 87 speed. That's super cheesy. His release is really easy to read. So when his mid-range goes up into the low 80s, I think it goes up to, that's going to be super cheesy. But the main thing with Cap is you have to learn to always get a post hook at no matter what angle you are. And if you can do that, if you can always get a post hook no matter what angle you are, then Cap is one of the best cards in the game. Because the post hook goes in 100% of the time, basically. Like, it's that bad. And I'm getting post fades every time for some reason. I don't know what's going on. There we go. So when you're going this way, the post hook sign is when he puts both hands on the ball. When you're going the other way, it's like a beat after he puts both hands on the ball. But if you do that, you'll get a bunch of green releases. And, I mean, the card is just really, really outstanding. Just a really, really outstanding card. And I've literally missed 500 post hooks in a row. There we go. He can hit that over anybody. He's probably the first post player that you have to double team. Because if somebody has that release down, it's a GG. Like, it's like real life Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, it's just a tool that he has in his toolbox that he can use on you, and it goes up even higher than this. It goes to, like, right now his deep hooks is only gold, and it's 96, I think. It goes to 99 with Hall of Fame. So literally, someone can post hook you from out here. And the reason that's so cheesy is because if you're in the post and you fake that way, he can explode the other way. So if you're leaning out for the post hook, he literally can just run past you. And then there's also the fact that if you're in the post and you post hop out and go to the jumper, that's very hard to contest. And because he's so quick, he can do that and then go to the basket or do other moves out of that. So out of the post, this is probably the best post-up card in the game. I'm going to say he's the best post-up card in the game because not only does he have an unstoppable tool, but he has incredible height and incredible athleticism. Like, right now, he has really good athleticism, but he's going to get elite athleticism going into the mid-80s in speed. And his speed with the ball rating is basically a complete lie. It's just an absolute lie. It's like Kobe's shot rating. Like, Kobe's shot rating is at 89. Kobe's shot rating is clearly in the mid-90s. I don't know what magic they're pulling with that, but it's the same thing with his speed with the ball rating. Like, literally, once he gets moving, like, I mean, look, the 7.2. 7.2 doing this. So once the card is fully evoed and his speed is all the way up, as a defender, and you guys might already see this with Chris Bosh, he's going to be running left and right, jumping at shots all over the place and stopping people's offense in their tracks. So that's a situation where this card has a lot of dimensions to it, and the only flaw in this card is that he doesn't get an acceptable three-point shot. But thank God he doesn't get an acceptable three-point shot, because if he did, there would be no reason to put any other centers in the game, because he's 7'2", he's got an unstoppable post game, really great defensive stats, really good rebounding stats, really great athletic stats across the board. Like, the card is nuts. Thank God he has one flaw to hold him back. But he is a skill card, because you have to get this this post game down. And again, you have to be able to post hook every single time, in every single angle, in every situation. And I don't know, maybe you guys are better at it than I am, but for some reason, I can be in the exact same spot for a post hook, and sometimes he'll just do a fadeaway. and his fadeaway is way worse than his post hook. So you have to figure out exactly where those sweet spots are to get that post hook. Like sometimes when I press down on the right stick in that position, I get a post hook, and sometimes I get the fadeaway. Like I know how to get a post hook in this position, but in certain other positions, just a little bit off to the side, he'll give me something different. So I don't play post players in Park and Rec, so that's a steep learning curve I personally have to get to really master the character. But I'm willing to put that investment into it because not only, I mean, first of all, it's more true to real life than a lot of the other cards' superpowers. At least it's something that he's the all-time scorer in the NBA from his post hook, and it's just fun. It's fun to do stuff like that. It's like a little mini game, learning those little skills. I've already learned how to dribble, and it doesn't take much to shoot. So now the fun for me is learning post-up players and learning playbooks and stuff like that, and like rotations and everything. That's where this game mode has a lot of teeth for me. Is not just in stacking the deck, but also learning the nuances of the cards like that. I want to hit 16-foot hook shots with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on a regular basis. That's my goal. I almost screened that one. Almost screened it. Oh, I can't wait to get that deep post hooks. But that's pretty much it, guys. Giannis is on the squad. The next step, fill out the roster with a bunch of shooters and defenders. Keep that overall in the high 80s. Up to 90 is what I'll accept. And we've come pretty far with this team already in just a couple of weeks. And honestly, between Christmas and work, I haven't been running this game to death or anything like that. It's just been a really good week in terms of all of the Christmas drops. I've gotten decently lucky with triple threat offline. And because this is a new account, I had a lot of rewards waiting for me in terms of playing domination. You can see I've done a decent amount of regular domination, but I got plenty to go. Like, these games are quick and easy. Did hardly any historic domination. I'm only 140 wins into triple threat, and I haven't played very much online. So that's not bad to get the deck to where we are, to having what is going to be a really strong team. So we're going to get you out of here, replace you with Giannis. And right now, this is pretty much what my team would be looking like if I were to play online. Love, love, love this Norman Powell card. I wouldn't play with Gary. I'd replace him with somebody. I don't know who off the top of my head. But my point guard rotation would be Oscar, Drew Holiday, and Lucious. My shooting guard rotation would be Michael Redd and Norman Powell. My small forward rotation, this is where I'm really weak. Definitely, I do not have any small forwards I like. I mean, theoretically, I could put James Worthy here, and he's a good card, but I'm not going to have that card long term, so I don't care about him. And I don't have a proper center on the Giannis squad. Like, Kareem would go to the bench, and I would have either, and to go OP, it would be like Chris Bosh, but I'm totally fine with like a Vucevic or whatever, like a budget version of it. So you can see here, we've got pink diamonds that are going to leave this lineup. So that'll bring the overall down when Gary Payton is replaced with like an amethyst or something like that. And that should get me down to like 90 or 89. This Porzingis is very usable to put into the spot to play with Giannis, although I might ultimately switch him out for a different budget option. But yeah, this is roughly what the squad is looking like right now, which is not bad. Not bad. I think we're doing okay for just a couple of weeks of my team. So it goes to show that this year they did a really good job of letting you build up a really good team in a really short time. Because this is definitely a team you can go online and win with. The only thing is I got to fix my small forward situation. But I have the MT to do that. I have almost 26 MT. I haven't sold any of my Kareem cards, which are right now is worth about 350k, I think, for the whole thing maybe. Because Gail Goodrich is still going for roughly 20. So, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to wait till those cards are out of packs because there's nothing I want right now, and I just don't see those pink diamonds coming below 100K after that's the only way you can get them is from the auction market. So if you're new to the mode, I would definitely say pay attention to things like that. You know, if cards are low value, but they do something like lock in for another card, like in this case, these guys you need them to get pink diamond Giannis, and they're in packs, that value is most likely going to go up. They're only low value now because of T-Mac, because a lot of people are trying to get that card, and because they're in packs. But those two things are going to change, and something else will be out, and those cards will get more and more rare. But this pink diamond Giannis, he's not going anywhere. I don't think they're going to make another Giannis card anytime soon, because there's four Giannis cards in the game already. So I think they're kind of all Giannis'd out until maybe he gets a Galaxy Opal later in the year. So for the next, I would say at a minimum, 2 months, in my guess, this is the guy. And people are going to realize that in about a week. They're like, oh no, I don't have Giannis, and I have no way of getting Giannis, and he's irreplaceable. There's literally not another player in like NBA history that plays the way this guy plays. So there's most likely not going to be a card that plays the way he plays at his size with his wingspan. And when people realize that, those pink diamond Gary Paytons and James Worthies and even Oscar Robinson, who is a good card, I love the card, definitely keeping him. I'm probably not going to sell him ever. I won't say ever, but I probably wouldn't sell him until I replace him with a guard I really, really like. Like if they come out with like a Diamond Russell Westbrook or something like that, who can shoot, then I might replace Oscar with that card. But none of the other point guards that I can actually get that are a reasonable price make me want to trade out Oscar. He's 6'5", he's got a ridiculous shot release, he's got some of the best ball handles in the entire game, just great stats across the board. You can see all the A's and A pluses. Excellent perimeter defense, excellent badges. If he had range extender, he'd be the best point guard in the game, like clean. He would just be a flawless card entirely. And even not having range extender, I don't even think it's a flaw because at the point guard position, I don't think it's quite as necessary as it is at the 2 and the 3 and even the 4, where those cards are catching and shooting. It's more of an advantage with these catch and shoot cards than a card like Oscar, who's constantly threatening to penetrate, or he can control where he's taking his jumper from. And the fact that he's a dunker means you have to play the card honestly. You have to play him for all 3 levels. You have to play him for the mid-range, you have to play him for the dunk, and you got to play him for the 3-point shot, and you have to play him for the pass, because he has, what does he have? Hall of Fame Dimer. If Hall of Fame Intimidator, this card is just absolutely stellar. Absolutely stellar. He's not the best point guard in the game, but if somebody said he was their favorite point guard, I would totally understand why. I still think that Rose and Baron Davis, possibly Iverson, I'd have to get my hands on that card to really see, are better cards than he is. But everybody else he's competitive with, depending on what you want. And for a card that's legitimately passing, shooting, finishing, defending, this guy does it all. This guy does it all. The only thing he doesn't have is range extender. And he has a little bit low stamina at 90, so you do need to have a third guard in your rotation if you're concerned about stamina at all. But aside from that, he's just a super excellent card. I think he's the best card that came out of that whole collection overall. Yeah, which goes to show you how important it is to get your hands on the card and look at the animations, because statistically, Gary Payton should be the best card. But he's got kind of a crappy shot, and some of his ball handles are infinitely worse animations than Oscar's. Gary has some good animations if you find them, but you gotta play into his animations. This guy doesn't have a bad animation. He literally has it's like they designed him after how people make their park characters. So if you play park and you come in here and get this Oscar Robinson card, you can just go cook people in triple threat all day. And he's 6'5" and has all of the defensive badges, so he's not going to get taken advantage of on the other side of the ball. I give this card an A+ rating, considering even now, after his price has gone up a little bit. First he was at 100K, then he came down to like 30 something, and then people came to their senses and he went back up to 50K. But I would say this card is probably worth 65K. I think he's a solid 65K point guard. If you spent that on the card, you didn't get robbed in terms of the value that he's going to give you. Because not only does he unlock Giannis, but you can actually play this card until you get somebody who's considered the best point guard in the game. Everybody else in the deck has got to go except for Norm Nixon. I would definitely 100% keep Norm Nixon for my budget squad going forward. And he's probably not going to be on my Giannis team. Maybe he'll make my second unit, but probably not. We'll see where my overalls fall once I get that Giannis deck all laid out. But that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you guys. And so we'll be ready for online play after we make that team. So that's the next step. I want to get up to about 50K MT without selling too many of these Kareem cards. And once I get that 50K MT, it'll be on to making the team, learning a playbook, and then going online into Unlimited. I already play Triple Threat online, but that's just, I mean, come on. It's a funsies mode. It's not really like the real, you know. So thank you everybody for watching. Hit me up with those questions or suggestions on the @MeBro Twitter. And yeah, thanks for being on this journey with me. I'm loving this game mode, and I'm loving it even more now that I got the cheesiest card in the game, Giannis, Pink Diamond Giannis Antetokounmpo.